Stop people pleasing for people who aren't going out their way to please you. You are your most important investment. So if it isn't pleasing to you, don't commit to it. Peace and blessings, Numani Nation. And first and foremost, all praises to the Most High. How are we doing today? I'm back with another episode. We have a lot going on in the world right now. It's supposed to be the most wonderful, joyous time of the year. And I know it's not feeling like that. But it's okay. As long as we have each other, we can make it through. So this week, we are talking about intentionally structuring boundaries and learning how to say no. And I know we all have a hard time at this. So let's talk about it. So today I'm gonna walk you through how to set real boundaries, right? Ones that you're actually going to follow. Ones that you're actually going to structure around your life in different areas of your life. You have personal boundaries. You have professional boundaries. You have boundaries that you have to set with your friends, with your families. You have general boundaries that you set with everybody. And then there are deal breakers, which is a whole nother thing. But right now, we're just going to talk about the basics of structuring boundaries in your life so that you can feel like you're not giving too much of yourself out into the world to other people and not getting enough back in return. Because I know what that feels like. So I'm going to share some experiences, personal things I've been through over the time of my life where I've had to learn this. And I'm specifically going to talk about a groundbreaking moment that I had in my life where I realized enough is enough. People ain't going to continue to use me. And that's exactly what people do. When you don't have boundaries, you lack respect for self. And when you lack respect for yourself, people can and will do whatever they feel like they want to do in your life. And you're the main character in your life. You're not the passenger. You're the main character. Everybody else is the passenger. And that's if you even want them in the car with you. So with that being said, let's get into it. So what's the core problem? The core problem is that you don't know how to say no. You don't know how to tell people to get out of your face, to leave you alone, to respect your privacy, to respect what you said, and you don't have morals. You don't have values. It sounds harsh, but that's just the truth. You need to start treating your yes like luxury. We keep having this conversation of luxury. Luxury is not just brand. It's not just designer. Luxury is anything in your life that makes you feel fulfilled, that makes you feel rich, that makes you feel wealthy. And we're talking about internal luxury that shapes your environment so that you can start to see that external luxury reflect. Because your environment is just a reflection of who you are inside, right? Right. You need to start treating your yes like luxury, like currency, because in a way, it's an exchange of energy. So if anything that we're exchanging currency, it's the same thing as exchanging energy. You say yes like your energy is unlimited or like your time is on sale, but it's not. Actually, you need to start raising the price of your yes. And so, me personally, when dealing with this, I would have to say, for me, when I learned the importance of boundaries, I was a resident assistant at Penn State, and we talked about boundaries because it was important for us to understand how to set proper boundaries as a resident assistant when we're running a building that had 432 students, y'all. 432 students, and it was 10 RAs. One of the years that I was RA, I think there was only 8 of us. But my higher-ups taught us that we had to know how to say no because there's going to be all these different people who are going to need us, or they're going to say that they need us. And they're going to be going through their own problems, their own crises. And the whole time, we're our own people going through our own problems, our own crises, our own struggles. We got our own classes and things like that. So that's what we were going through at the time, and that's what we were learning. And at the same time, me being an eldest child, I never understood boundaries. Nobody ever talked to me about boundaries. I was used to people pleasing because I had to please my family. I felt that I had to show up for them at any beck and call because I was the eldest and they needed me. I'm my parents' eldest daughter. I'm my grandparents' eldest grandchild. I'm the big sister of my brother and my sister. So, and even still to this day, I have to learn how to call my energy back to myself and understand that I can't be everything for everyone. And that's what you learn as you go down this path of unlearning how to people please and learning how to set intentional boundaries. You learn that you can't be everything for everyone, but you have to be everything for yourself. And even if you have a strong support system, you have to be able to show up for yourself 100% of the time, as many times as possible. You can't count on the fact that other people can show up for you. But the only thing that you can count on is the fact that you can show up for yourself. And boundaries help you achieve that. It helps you be able to create more space for yourself in a noisy, distracted, busy world where if you are a person of power, of responsibility, or if you are becoming that type of person, you know you have the tools in your back pocket where you can continue to show up in the world. You can continue to show up for yourself and for others, but you do it in a way where you don't feel like you're overextending yourself. You don't feel like you're being used and abused. So we learned that, and it was all theoretical when I was a resident assistant, but it wasn't until a particular scenario or a situation that happened in my junior year of undergrad, which also actually happened to be my first year as a resident assistant, that I understood this. So I was a Lion ambassador at Penn State. I'm not going to tell y'all what campus I was on, and if you know, you know, that's great. But if you don't know, it's fine. So I went to Penn State undergrad, and I was a Lion ambassador. And at the same time, like I said, I was just starting to be a resident assistant. So I did a lot of things on campus. A lot of things. I was a new student orientation leader, resident assistant, and all while taking like biology classes and, you know, still hitting the gym. And I had just started Numani Nation at the time, and I was a peer mentor and all types of stuff. I was doing all types of stuff, and every chance I could, I was showing up to events, trying to help out, whether that be coordinating them, running them, or just showing up, you know, for my friends who were running their own events, or the staff and faculty on campus who were running their events, and just me trying to be supportive. And so I remember I was sick, y'all. I was sick as a dog, and I don't typically get sick. I was sick to the point where I couldn't even get out of bed. I had extreme body sores. And I remember that I was just laying there. Mind you, nobody knew I was in my room. I was in my room for days. So this was like kind of my last straw kind of moment too. I was in my room for days. Nobody had called me. Nobody texted me. Nobody was checking up on me. I was just in my room, sick as hell. Couldn't get out of bed. I was crawling to the bathroom, literally crawling to the bathroom. Could not eat. I wasn't eating. I went days without eating. And here I get a message from somebody in Lion Ambassadors asking me if I could do a tour. I didn't have the energy for that. I didn't have the energy for that shit. And so I text them back like, oh no, I can't, you know, I'm not going to be able to do it today. And now they were not used to my no. Because when I was in Lion Ambassadors, I started my freshman year. When I was in there, I never told them no. I always was trying to do everything, you know. And that's how I was with everything up until this point. I'm always trying to do everything. I'm just trying to be everything for everybody. And it just, at this point, it wasn't, aside from the fact that I was sick, regardless of that, I had already actually prefaced them and let them know that I was going to be becoming a resident assistant, which, by the way, excuse me, is like the best, okay, I'm going to be biased by saying this, but it's one of the best leadership roles that you can get involved in on campus, is becoming a resident assistant. And anybody who has been a resident assistant knows, like, you get everything out of that experience. Everything that you need to know. More than half of the things that I've learned as a resident assistant, I still carry in my life today, and has helped me tremendously just in my own personal life, like when we're talking about setting boundaries, but also in my professional life, and has helped me with running my business. And so I had already prefaced them and let them know, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to show up for line ambassadors the way that I have been for the past 2 years, because I'm becoming a resident assistant, and being a resident assistant is everything on campus in one position, but like within housing. And so they had already knew, and on top of the fact that I was sick, I just wasn't in that right, physical or mental state of mind to go on campus and give a tour. Like, I couldn't even get out of bed, so let alone walk around campus and give somebody a tour. And I just remember that the person was just like, oh, okay, cool, like, it's fine or whatever, but like they were super passive aggressive about it. And then from that point on, they just stopped reaching out to me for events and stuff like that. And it was like when I saw them on campus, it was always like weird, as if they felt like I traded on them. And I'm like, okay, if you feel that way, that's fine. But for me, it was like no hard feelings, no love lost, because regardless of, I was just going through something temporarily, but they took it personal. And it was that moment that I realized they did not care about me. They did not care about what I had going on, whether it be with other things that was going on campus or my health state. They just cared about what I could do for them. And that is right there is most of people's motivation in your life. A lot of people are not genuinely showing up to support you or to just accept you as they are. They always want to know, what can you do for them? And especially if you're in a professional setting, your bosses and your higher ups and things like that, a lot of times they don't care about you. They will replace you. And you know what they did? They replaced my ass, okay? Like, and that's perfectly fine, because as an entrepreneur now, and having, people work with me and for me, like, I understand, like, you have to be able to pivot, but this is the reality of these systems, these corporations, these businesses. They don't really, like, you are just a number to them. And I had to understand that, and it hurt me a lot in that moment, but I had to understand that I was just a number. I was just another line ambassador, and they were going to find another ambassador who could do what they wanted to do, what they wanted them to do at a drop of a dime, or when they were available, if they had more time than me, or whatever the case may be. So, I digress. It was really that moment that made me realize that I had to learn how to start saying no, and stop putting myself in every role and every position in everybody's lives and trying to fulfill everything, because I couldn't. And honestly, if I wasn't sick, I think back on this, even if I wasn't sick, I knew I had a whole bunch of other stuff going on, I probably still would have said yes, and I wouldn't have learned this lesson that I learned today, and I wouldn't have got my feelings hurt to then understand that I'm just a number, and that's the reason why I have to put myself first, because I matter to me, and I have to show myself that I matter to me. And constantly exerting energy where your energy is not even 100% appreciated is like self-harm. That's self-harm. That's honestly neglect. And your body and your soul, it understands that. When you don't show up for yourself, your soul understands that. It understands that frequency. And that reflects in your environment in a lot of different ways. So, I know a lot of people can relate to that. I would love to hear other people's stories too about their moments in which they learned how to stop people pleasing and how to say no. But that was my moment. And from there, I just kind of just like took it in stride and just became more intentional about putting myself in places where even if I couldn't show up, like, I was supported. And I felt that as a resident assistant, because even as a resident assistant for the 2 years that I was a resident assistant, there were times where I couldn't show up. There were times where I was too tired, or I had too much going on with school, or there was things going on with family. And regardless of that, I still felt like I was supported from my team. I still felt like I was needed. And so in dealing with that with line ambassadors, and also then getting that type of experience of love and respect and appreciation from resident assistants, from being a resident assistant, those two things hand in hand really made me realize, like, I need to start being more intentional about who I show up for, because there are people who are worth showing up for, even at the expense of yourself, and they just weren't it. And I'm happy that I ended up choosing the people who were it, because I ended up getting a lot out of my investment in return by being by being a resident assistant. And so yeah. So a boundary and saying no is not you being mean. It's not you being unagreeable. It's you saying to yourself that you matter too. It's you saying that you see yourself as a whole person who deserves time for yourself, who deserves respect, who deserves support, who deserves intentional time and energy placement. That's what a boundary is. And saying no is a tool for your own protection. It's not just a word. Just like saying yes, it's not just a word. It's a tool for your own luxury. When you say yes to something, you're accepting it in your energy, and it is, depending on what it is a reflection of you and what you value. When you say yes to things, it's a reflection of you and what you value. And for some people on a day-to-day basis, making a decision, it might not seem like a big deal, but when you reflect on your life and you look back on the things that you said yes to and all the things that you said no to, you'll see that it all built up to something. And that something reflects who you are today, right now, as you sit here and listen to this episode, as you sit here and watch this podcast. Like, it really adds up. You just have to see how all the little pieces and all the things that you agree to and all the things that you say no to, how it shapes you, how it forms you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You know? And so, like, that's my example on a professional level. On a personal level, sometimes we have friends and family who, they desire more of us. Like, for example, I have some friends who are more so high maintenance friends. I have actually quite a few high maintenance friends, but I'm not a high maintenance friend. I'm that type of friend where you could text me once every 3 months and I'm gonna be okay. It's no hard feelings. We don't have to talk every day. We don't have to talk every week. We don't have to talk every month. And I'm not gonna think that there's some hidden animosity or something in between us that's going on, or conflict, that we're not talking about. For me, it's just like, they're busy, I'm busy, and we're gonna talk and we're gonna have conversations when we can. But for other people who are more high maintenance, they want more of your time and your energy. And there has been times where I've had to have conversations with friends and family and let them know, like, hey y'all, I got a lot of stuff going on in my life. I'm trying to build a brand here. I'm trying to become a doctor. Like all of this stuff, and all this stuff is happening in real time. Every day I wake up. First thing I think to myself, first of all, I thank God for even waking up. But I'm thinking about, how can I improve? How can I reach 1 step closer to my goal? 2 steps closer, maybe 3, maybe 5. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day and what my energy levels look like. But, on a day-to-day, and just having these energy deposits and people taking away from your energy deposits, it drains you. And when you're doing what I'm doing, and a lot of y'all who are watching this can relate to this, you understand, like, those energy deposits, they really matter. Because that energy that you're putting somewhere and it's seeping out could be put somewhere else. That's why being intentional is important. You can't just have energy deposits just seeping out in different areas, and you really just don't understand, like, oh, why do I feel so tired? Why am I feeling so drained? It's because you don't know where all your energy is going. Some of your energy is going to places where it really can't afford to go right now. And sometimes those can be the people and things that are closest to us that we value, but we're in a position in our life where we have to be more intentional, where we put our energy and it has to go somewhere else. And so I've had a lot of those conversations with friends and family. My family, they like me to come home. They like me to visit. And I love to go home and I love to visit my family, so I try my best to do that. But there are times where I get so caught up in life, and that's not me making an excuse. But if you understand the grind and you understand the hustle, then you know, like, you can get caught up in life and there are things that are going on. So I have to explain to my family, especially my family particularly, I'm not just doing this for myself. First of all, I'm doing it for y'all who are watching this, and I'm doing it for them. So I need that space. I need that time. I need my energy, because if I'm the chosen one and I'm the breadwinner and my family knows that, then they have to respect that, and they have to give me the space and the time that I need to cultivate all the things that I'm working on, so that I can show them what I have to offer, not only to the world, not only to myself, but for them and they have sacrificed a lot of things for me. And now it's just my turn. It's just my turn to give back. And it's hard for you to really put that in perspective and actually practice that, especially when you are an elder in your family, and when you are that friend that everybody wants to spend time with and be around. Like, you have to put in perspective for them too. So these are just some examples of different areas, like even relationships. When you're with a partner, there are times when I've had these situations where there are times where I have to focus on being at school. I've literally had to break up with people who would tell me in the beginning of relationships, like, oh yeah, I understand. Like, I'll tell them, like, oh, I'm studying to be a doctor, like, there's a lot of things I got going on. I'll be studying, like, when I was in undergrad, I was studying like 8 to 12 hours a day, okay, on top of going to classes. And I'd have to let them know, like, yo, like, there are going to be some days where I might be able to send you maybe 1 or 2 text messages, 1 in the morning and 1 at night, but all the other time I'm in lab, I'm studying, I'm in class, I'm in the library, grinding. I'm behind the screen. You think I want to do that? You think I want to study for 12 hours a day? No. And neglect you and ignore you? Obviously not. That's not what my preference would be, but that's the situation. And there have been times where I've had to, like, tell people, like, all right, this is not going to work because you don't understand. You have to be around people who understand the sacrifices that you're making, who understand what your purpose is and the things that you're doing and why it is important to you. Because when somebody actually understands why you are doing the things that you are doing, why it's important to you, and the value behind it, then it's important to them. And those are the type of people that you want in your life. The people who respect your boundaries, the people who value what you have going on, and they make it important to them also. So what is the shift that's required? The shift that's required is this is about no longer abandoning yourself. Stop abandoning yourself. Stop putting yourself all out there for people to perceive you and to take from you and take. And half the time these people are not even giving. Right? We're people pleasing for people who are not even pleasing us. Why? If it ain't pleasing to you, don't commit to it. Let it go. The things that are for you, you'll know they're for you, and they will feel in alignment. They will feel harmonious. They will feel like they make sense because they do, because they are purposeful, because they are intentional, and they are meant to be in your life, and that's the reason why they were placed there. Other things are just placed in your life because they are a test. They are a test of your willpower. They are a test of your boundaries. They are a test of your morals and your values. You have to pass that test in order to reach to the next level. This is about raising the price of your yes and making your no intentional. Everything that we're talking about in this podcast is about raising the price. You are of upper echelon. That's how you should treat yourself. Raise the price. Be a valuable person. A person who is always everywhere, can be seen in any group, in any crowd, is always saying yes, can always be in every space, and you're not valuable because you're common. People don't value things that appear common. They value things that appear rare, that appear scarce. So when you say no to things more than you say yes, that's how you come off to people and they value you more. That's just basic psychology. Okay? If you want to know more about that, read 48 Laws of Power and you'll understand. Robert Greene, he talks about that in his book. How to appear more valuable to people, and it's through scarcity. It's through creating distance between yourself and everything else that's going on, that people value you more. And how do you do that? You do that through being more intentional with your yes and being more intentional with your no. Alright, so as always, I gotta leave y'all with some actionable steps to take within, some takeaways for your own life. I only have one for y'all today, which is super practical, and it is just to exercise saying no for as long as it takes until it feels comfortable to you. The only way that you can get better at saying no to people and things is to just do it. So when I personally was going through this, when I was talking about being a resident assistant and being a Lion ambassador, I, for like a month after that, would say no to everything until I got comfortable with saying no. Even if I could do it, even if I could commit to it, I would say no. Because I needed to learn how. And I missed out on things by doing this, but the lesson and what I took away from it was much greater. So that's my actionable step. As far as setting boundaries, my actionable steps for setting boundaries is to take a tally, get out your journal. We talk about journaling all the time. And if by now you don't have a journal, you need to lock in. What are you doing? But take out your journal and just sit there and reflect on every area in which you feel drained, where you feel like your energy is being utilized more than it should be, where you feel like people are constantly like overstepping, and where you feel uncomfortable. Take a tally of all of those, write down what they are, and then write down a boundary that counteracts that feeling. So, for example, I'll give you something basic, like if people often come up to you, you have beautiful, luxurious, lavish hair. Okay, just as a black woman, I can relate to that the most. That's super simple. A lot of black women can relate to that, and black men. And you always have people who come up to you trying to stroke your hair. You know how the white people be, and other groups of people. But let's just say something silly, something simple. People always come up to you and they're always stroking your hair, touching your hair, treating you like you some type of object or something. Set boundaries where you will use your voice to tell people to stop, to tell people no. Like, first of all, you should never allow people in your space, in your bubble, if you don't feel comfortable with it. So you have to master that boundary and master how to say no. But me personally, like in my scenario, if people get too close to me, I'd be like, yo, can you take a step back and look in the mirror and practice that? Because I know the first time it feels weird. You feel rude, but really the other person is rude because why the hell are they in your space? You know what I'm saying? So we just gotta stop thinking that, oh, well, it's disrespectful, well, it's rude. It's rude for other people to think that they can play with you. How about that? It's rude and disrespectful for other people to be in your space and to be treating you like anything, as if you are not a human being just like they are. So you gotta be a little more ruthless, a little more aggressive with telling people to leave you alone, not right now, stop bothering me, and this is not the time. Those are different ways that you can tell people no without saying outright no, and establishing boundaries with people. Another one is if you have a employer, for example, a boss, a manager he knows you're the go-to person, and you're always the person who's picking up overtime, picking up extra shifts. You're the reliable employee. Practice in the mirror, look at yourself and practice in the mirror, or practice with somebody else as if they're your boss and you are the employee. Not right now, or now is not the time. Let's say that your manager is saying like, hey, Renaijah, can you stay overtime today again? I know that you stayed 3-4 days in a row, but can you stay tonight also? No, not right now. No, not today. I don't have the time for that today. I actually have other things going on in my life. So I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can do that for you. And if people push back, because they will, especially when they're not used to you saying no to them, they will try to push back. And they'll be like, oh, well, can you just this one time? And you and I both know it's not just that one time, because they ask all the damn time, right? So you just say, no, I said no, and that's that. And then you walk away. First of all, you don't have to explain yourself to nobody. It doesn't matter who it is. You don't have to fear losing your job for exercising boundaries. If you are a person who fears, well, oh, if I say no and if I don't do this for somebody, then I'm going to lose my job, or I'm going to lose my friend, or it's going to sever some type of connection or create some type of tension between me and this person, our friendship, our familyship, our relationship. That person's not meant for you in the first place. Okay? So if anybody is pushing back when you decide that you want to set boundaries and they're pushing back on those boundaries, it's not meant to be. And it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. People who love you, who care for you, who respect you, who want to see you win in life, they will respect all of you. That includes your boundaries. That includes what you value. That includes your morals. Okay? So with, again, actionable steps with saying no, the only way that you can master saying no is by practicing saying no. Say no to everything until it's comfortable, until it's something that you can just do. And then once you feel comfortable at doing that, then you be more intentional with saying yes. As far as setting boundaries, write down all the things that I said that gives you a negative vibe, a negative feeling, makes you feel uncomfortable, creates tension, creates some type of division between your heart, mind, and body, and your soul and your spirit. Anything that causes some type of uncomfortability or tension within you, an unsettling feeling within you, write those things down and write how you are going to counteract that when the time comes, and practice those things either with another person or in the mirror with yourself. That's what I got for y'all. So I hope that you learned something from this episode. It was so nice talking to y'all again today. And tune into the past episodes. Last episode, what did we talk about last episode? I forgot, y'all. Hold on. Let's see what we talked about last episode, because I don't remember. We talked about... Hold on. Nope. Let me not even get on here and lie. Let me not even get on here, because too much things be happening. Oh, the art of saying nothing and controlling everything. So the last episode, we talked about the power of silence. That was a great episode. I had a lot of fun recording that. Definitely, if you are a type of person who feels like you need to always have a rebuttal or go back and forth with people and prove your point, you should definitely listen to that episode. The episode that we talked about before that, because we're on our 3rd episode now, was just overall just having more discernment in life. I'm on this journey of being 24, turning 25, my frontal lobe is developing. I've been having a lot of just moments where it's just everything makes sense. Just like in this podcast, me recording this podcast and giving y'all these tidbits and these gems makes sense. So hopefully everything that I'm saying to you makes sense, and that you're learning something from it. You can get, even if it's just one takeaway from every video or every episode, that I'm grateful for that, and that makes me happy. As usual, tap into the other episodes. Hit up the website if you're looking to purchase some crystals. If you sign up for my newsletter, you get 25% off your first purchase. We both have the Etsy shop and the Shopify shop, which will be down below. And also follow me on Instagram. And yeah, everybody, thank you for tuning in. As always, to the people who always tune in, thank you for coming back. And for anybody who is new here, thank you for joining us. I hope that you enjoy and that you stay for the long ride, because we are going to be continuously going up and leveling up. And as I continue to go up, it's going to be more and more. It's more passion, more lessons, more growth. And y'all are here on this journey with me, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, everyone.